a leader is. And there are many definitions, as you know. But I'll tell you the definition to me of one little girl that I saw, a definition of what I consider great leadership potential. She was probably about 10 years of age, and it was in my homecoming to my hometown of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. That's where all the lakes sort of look like they're coming together. That's where the Soo is. And she got up to this microphone, and she had snow boots on and everything, and she cranked the microphone down. She had glasses on, and she just looked, you know, she had white stockings on, a skirt on, and this big coat. And she cranks the microphone down, and she asked me a very interesting question. She was the only girl and the only 10-year-old that came up to the microphone. All the rest were like parents and teachers and everything else. And this little child, she came right up to that microphone, and I thought, now that is leadership potential. And why do I say that? Is because she was not afraid. And I think the mark of a good leader, in my estimation, is first of all, you have to be able to control your fear of many, many things, because people look at you for strength. And a leader has to provide strength. No matter what else you do in life and all your leadership skills, people really need to have someone, and it doesn't matter, even good leaders need to have someone who's strong in their life. So when you start thinking about the kinds of things that you might face, you don't have to go on a rocket ship to prove that you're not afraid of stuff. In fact, there are a lot of people who hide in the space program who have fear of other things in life. Just because you're afraid of one facet does not mean that you're not going to be a good leader. But one of the things about being a good leader is to be able to communicate. In space, one sees great beauty, but one can't touch it. And really, the reality is that Earth is the only place that we can. So it's the place that we see beauty for the first time.
And Katie?
My question to her was, when did she decide that she wanted to be an astronaut? And I thought it was pretty cool that she came to Hinton, because it's a pretty small town.
My question was, what did she have to do to prepare? There was a lot that she had to do to prepare to get in there.
What did you learn from the evening?
I learned that she had to have a lot of doctor's degrees to get to where she was.
Sometimes it's in the way a question is formulated. Sometimes recognizing somebody who's never asked a question of a speaker, but has really always wanted to know something. And to be able to share that moment and bond with them is a gift. It's a gift for me. That someone would actually take a piece of their life and share that. And that's really quite something.
As far as being in space, do you wish that you could perhaps, that more people could see that side of?
Yes, I do. A lot of people have a very different view of space than what it really is. I mean, space is all about, is about living in a floating world, and everything floats. It's not an efficient place to work. I don't think we're made, and I mean made, I'm not talking about any type of religious sense here. I'm talking about physiologically, we're not as good at living in space as we are as living down here, because our body is an organism that's constantly changing, and it responds to whatever the environment is around us. So when I look at people going into space, the view from space is something I would love to share with everybody. An IMAX movie is getting pretty close, but you're still eating popcorn and sitting in a chair and you can go to the bathroom anytime you want. It's the reality of that moment, and that is the hardest thing. It's like trying to teach somebody to do CPR in a room full of dummies on the floor, and then they leave the building and somebody is having a heart attack right at the corner, and they have to start doing CPR, and they'll never forget that moment.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm in grade 11.
What did you think about the different things that were said in the room during the question and answer?
I thought it was super interesting to know everything that she's done and been through and stuff.
Is it what you thought it might be?
Kind of, yeah. But the questions and answers were a little bit unexpected in a good way. I asked her what her most memorable moment was when she was in space.
The most memorable moment for me in space, and this is, I'm not kidding you, was actually flying over Canada and listening to the national anthem. I took up some music. My aunt was a professional pianist, and she had a recording on the piano and recording the organ. And I had a policeman who used to sing in Sault Ste. Marie. Now it seems to be Ottawa Senators, but we don't want to talk about the Ottawa Senators here in the middle of Alberta. And he had a very big tenor voice. So listening to O Canada as I was flying across the country, it was better than any IMAX movie. It was giving me the reality check about how vast the country is. And I bet most people in this room would be surprised to know that neither the space shuttle nor the space station flies over the geographic center of our country.